Hello, everybody. Good morning. It's Ed Rosenberg, and today I'm with Elena from Seller Engine. Elena, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you, Ed. Thank you for having me.
Okay, my pleasure. So you were telling me about that we need to review past notifications to make sure everything is fine with the inventory. You want to talk a little bit about that, please?
Right. So this is about going into the busy season with a clean history. There are things that people can do, sellers can do right now to protect their business when the busy season is just around the corner. And there's various aspects that they need to keep in mind. There's a risk assessment that we always suggest sellers should do, and then there's preventive steps that they can take to keep their business safe during the busy season. So the notification history checking would be part of the risk assessment. So to begin, we always recommend sellers to audit their business and their selling practices at this time of the year, usually in autumn. Reviewing your notification history can bring stuff to light that you have forgotten about. So maybe you got a notification sometime last year about a prohibited ingredient in one of your products, and you removed the inventory at that time, but you completely forgot about it afterwards because you didn't make a note of it anywhere, and you forgot. So this is the kind of stuff that reviewing your notification history can dig up. That's why it's important you do it, especially that sometimes in notifications for things related to beauty and health and personal care, Amazon might mention aspects that are not in their help pages. They might mention ingredients that are not in their list of prohibited items. So it would be good to keep a good track of past notifications from them. Now, following the same idea, you can also check lists on Amazon available in their help pages because they constantly update them. A common mistake that a lot of sellers do is go there when they initially start selling, but then stop checking it at all. And if you should know Amazon updates it all the time. They might take stuff out, but usually they add stuff to the list. So that's why it's good to go there all the time to look into it. Yeah. Yeah,
And
go
they,
ahead.
they don't notify sellers that are selling something that all of a sudden an item became restricted.
Yes, exactly. That's why it's good to go in there and check yourself. It's preventive action, basically. And in the same line of thought, you should give up on inventory that poses risks. So what I mean by this is, I'm sure everybody knows that there suspensions because of inauthentic items and intellectual property right infringements have been piling up lately. This year has been crazy. One seller shut down after another. And if you do know that you have 99% of your inventory with good, solid, detailed invoices, but you let a few of them slip through the cracks because it's good selling items with a lot of visibility, and you just let them slide in there, hope they're not going to be noticed. Stop doing that before the busy season. Stop doing it because, yes, you might not get caught, but in case you do, you might risk a suspension just because of that small portion of your inventory. And what's even more serious is that for such a suspension because of intellectual property right infringement or inauthentic items, you can get suspended on all your unified venues. You really don't want to risk that before the busy season. I mean, it's a risk that you wouldn't want to be subject to, and it's something that you can easily correct in your activity at this time of the year.
Health and beauty. A lot of people are getting suspended.
Yes, they are mostly for safety complaints lately, as far as we could tell from the cases and leads that we had. What we recommend to people is to start saving relevant paperwork for such complaints. I'm talking about material safety data sheets. together with invoices, of course, and always work closely with your suppliers to find out how the items have been tested, like what kind of tests have been run, and everything relevant to safety. Another thing is that your listing might not cover everything that buyers may complain about. I'm talking about critical product reviews here. We've seen a lot of critical product reviews about problems with items causing allergies or dark spots or whatever not on for skin products, for instance, like having various bad effects on the skin. And a lot of times those are okay, or it's an effect that sellers know about, but it's something that they don't inform their buyers about as well. So they should improve their listings to stay away from complaints like that, for sure.
But some of them are ridiculous.
They are, yes. But Amazon works on robots, on automated searches, so you gotta keep yourself safe. Yeah, it's good prevention measures to take before the busy season. And among these, there's also the more, let's call them more obvious ones, that you should monitor your performance. I know you usually do as a seller, but there's tools that you can build internally to monitor your metrics before Amazon actually updates them. So you're going to know that your cancellation rate might raise to a dangerous ceiling before Amazon displays that for you, if you keep track of cancellations or late shipments or whatever it is. So yeah, develop something internally to keep your metrics in check as well.
Are there tools that you know of that do that, where they give you the updated metrics before Amazon does? That'll be valuable.
In most cases, people build them internally because they're not that difficult to build. It's just something that keeps track of your number of orders, and then whenever you make a cancellation, you mark it in that tool, and it just does the percentage. It's not a lot of math behind it. It's just a plain algorithm that people can use. So usually they develop this internally.
Right. I guess it's also common sense.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing I wanted to mention about prevention that you can make. So we all know now that the imperfect orders report is not available anymore. Start keeping track while you still can before the busy season hits. Start keeping track of your complaints from buyers, and I'm not talking about emails only or negative feedback. I'm talking about critical product reviews again. So you might be surprised of how many items are actually flagged out as being usually faulty, usually problematic. So you can take them out of your inventory so you don't risk a suspension right before the busy season because of a notification for used items sold as new or whatever it is. Of course, you're going to find cases where the buyers aren't right, again, as it happens a lot. But better be safe than sorry. Give up on an item that usually gets complained, and keep your inventory safe overall.
Right. So, and any idea why the imperfect order report was removed? Did you think of
Not really. Yeah, not really. We don't know if they have a plan to ease digging up the problem or investigating a problem in the future, but they haven't communicated officially about it. Yeah, about the reasons to remove it. No.
Right, so basically, all you can do is look at the product reviews, the messages, the returns, the seller feedback, and that's
Mark them down, mark the date down. It's really easy to keep track of this in a plain Excel file that you would sort by ASIN or by whatever other identifier you need. And you would see that you got like 3 complaints inside 2 weeks. So it's a pretty high order defect rate, and you wouldn't want to sell that item further because it can cause problems. So that's the kind of monitoring that I'm talking about. And of course, then there's that last part that refers to the Christmas specific items that you plan on selling. Either it's inventory already in your stock or inventory that you plan on purchasing. You should maybe consider acquiring the services of listing optimization companies to make sure that your inventory has a lot of visibility when the busy season comes. This is not prevention, of course, but it's good practice, to ensure you're going to have a good season when everything starts. Yeah.
Right, definitely. Any idea what's coming up next and on what Amazon will be cracking down on? I think it's the reviews, no?
The reviews, yes, of course, with the latest news. And I don't think they're done with the inauthentic suspensions so far. We haven't seen a decrease yet in the number of suspension account rescue or suspension clients that come to us. They've been suspending listings and accounts. So we get the same amount of people right now that we used to get half a year ago. So I don't think they're done cleaning up the market of counterfeit, which is their biggest plan this year, apparently. Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's no question in my mind that they view an inauthentic complaint like on a name brand item more than they do for, a non-name brand. I just think they're really cracking down on people who are selling name brands, and
Definitely.
they're making it almost like impossible.
Definitely, and asking for fees to get permission to sell big brands, and it's affecting a lot of sellers. Like we had to promise a complete change of business model in the case of some of our clients, because they would buy 90% of their stock would be bought from stores and then sold on Amazon. So it would be big brands, but not bought directly from the manufacturer or an authorized distributor. They were authentic, but not going. Not complying with all the policy that Amazon has and their guidelines and regulations. So that's why sometimes you just have to give up what you're doing if you want to continue selling on Amazon and switch to another thing that's safer in Amazon's eyes,
Right, but some people are saying that they're selling, they're getting it from authorized distributors. And
Sorry.
Some people are claiming that they're getting it from authorized distributors.
Mm-hmm.
Yet still, Amazon is, cracking down on them.
Mm-hmm. You're going to be safe if your authorized distributor is officially listed as such on the manufacturer's website. So a lot of big brands such as Apple or Samsung or, you name it, they have officially listed supplier lists or authorized distributor lists. So you're safe if your supplier is there, but if not, you might just get in trouble,
Right. So, I mean, it makes it very difficult. I mean, I've been speaking to people that have $200,000 of inventory,
Right.
and, one guy complained it was used as new, so now they can't sell it anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why it's important to keep track of everything we discussed today, because like one notification or one bad complaint, even if unreal, can affect your activity, and you don't want that in the busy season,
Right. I think they're focusing more from the shift what happened the last 6 months. Like it used to be, we would say, okay, we had a headache item, a problem item.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's not so much having too many problems on an item, that's for sure. But even if it's the type of item is no good, the type of complaint. In other words, you get one fake complaint, even though you have no others, and that's it.
When it's related to safety, I am 100% sure that one complaint is enough, because I've seen plenty of cases like this. And a lot of people are surprised at how Amazon doesn't take into account the percentage of bad complaints compared to good complaints, but it is what it is. And if we want to keep on selling on Amazon, we got to go by their rules. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It is what it is, because it doesn't make sense. I mean, if you sold 15,000 of an item, this guy was telling me he got 6 complaints. Not complaints. Out of the 6 complaints, 4 of them was like, the address was wrong and it was FBA, so there's nothing he could do. And then one not as described, and boom, that knocked down the listing.
Yeah. Yeah, they're silly sometimes, but you just gotta do the write the plan of action anyway. You gotta do your due diligence to stay away from stuff like this. Yeah, as
Contact them.
much as you can.
Is there any way, especially if it's a large seller, you can contact Amazon, like explain to them, or nothing doing?
Well, you can, and I would say that we have a really high success rate for getting listings back up. When a whole activity is suspended, it's usually not just one isolated problem that happened. So with account rescue, of course, the success rate is not as high as a listing reinstatement. But you can explain to Amazon, and when you know you're right, we don't give up. Like especially when your supplier is fine, you verified everything, you ran research phases on your whole activity and inventory, and you're fine. Just don't give up. Yeah, a lot of times when you're suspended for things, you don't for any kind of complaints, you don't even have to put together the typical plan of action with corrective steps and preventive steps, and this is what I did, and this is what I'm going to do next. Just explain them about your stock origin and everything. Like if you know you're right, it can be simpler than it might seem at a first glance. Yeah.
I just think it's
Just
good. I just think it's good to say you did something wrong.
yeah, it is. Well, they usually expect that. Yeah. They expect to see that there's something wrong. But even if when there isn't, because that's what I was referring to earlier, when you know there's nothing wrong, you just need to put all the information in there to show Amazon that you're upfront and transparent, have nothing to hide, but this time it really wasn't your problem. Yeah.
Okay, Elena, anything you want to add before we end this?
I think I'm pretty much done. Yeah. Feel free to run that audit on your activity. If you have any questions, you know where to find us. So yeah, we'd love to help.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ed. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too, bye.